Today, let's talk about the purpose of your life. When I say that, you may have a million things to become a millionaire, a good person, an arahant. You all have a different purpose, but it varies with the time. When I was a kid, I wanted to become a soldier. I thought that my life purpose was that, to become a soldier. Because previous day I got a toy gun. Therefore, I felt that I was born to become a soldier. Then I met a beautiful girl. Then I thought that my life purpose is to become a husband to the girl I saw. It changes. It changed. I think you experience the same. With the environment, it changes. Actually, what's the life purpose? What's the purpose of your life? No one knows, ladies and gentlemen. No one knows. If you know this, you will be the happiest person in the world. Let me explain to you. Try to understand this. But I know it's really difficult for you to understand because you have many purposes. And you have many beliefs. You have many beliefs, therefore you may not agree with me. But let's talk about this. What about happiness? If I say the purpose of life must be happiness, then again you may have questions. How can we achieve happiness? And how can I become a doctor or an engineer or an accountant or the president of the country? So on. Perhaps traveling, go on holiday. You have many things in your mind, and you have been trying all these things to achieve happiness in your life. But finally, you have understood that you are still not happy, therefore you came to the monastery to study Buddhism and try to be happy by doing that. I'm sorry to say, you can't. By studying Buddhism, you can't become happy. You can't become a happy person. You can't be happy. If you know the Dhamma, that's not the path. You can study the Dhamma, you can talk, and you can perhaps preach to someone, but that's not the path. The Dhamma is not the path, ladies and gentlemen. The path is different. Through the Dhamma, we need to understand the truth. Then the path appears in front of us. Then we should start walking. Then you will realize that the path is made by walking. You need to walk. Then when you walk, you will see the path. Like your navigator. When you move, the path appears. The path appears. This path is also the same. Or if you want, you can read the Tripitaka. The Tripitaka, you can read that and find out from a Sri Mentora to an Arahant. The path is there. You can read it. You can read and you can try to practice, but you never achieve that. Because what you read or what you are going to read is the Buddha's path or someone else's path. That's not yours. Once you achieve your salvation, you can write your path, but it will be useless. Why? Because you have achieved it, and someone is going to achieve it, but that person can't use it, because it's a different path. 1,000 people achieve their arahanthood in 1,000 ways. You can't use others' path. You have to create your own path. You have to enter the path first. After that, you will create your own path. This is how you can achieve happiness. That's why I always tell you, the ball is in your court. Always. Always you have to strive. Always. You can't have any excuse. You can't have any help. Teachers are there to guide you, show you the path, let you understand the truth. You need to understand that. I can't understand the truth on behalf of you. You need to understand the truth. I can tell you some words. These are merely words, ladies and gentlemen. Merely words. You can't find Nibbana, you can't find your salvation in words. That's why this is really difficult. You can become an engineer very easily. It takes only 3 years. Once you have done your A-levels, then within 3 or 4 years you can become an engineer. Within 5 years you can become a doctor. But to become an arahant, we can't have the time. One day you will achieve it. Then only can we measure the time you take. That's why we need to do it. That's why we need to practice it. That's why we need to understand the Dhamma. Then you will realize your life purpose. Until you listen to the Dhamma, you never realize your life purpose. That's why I told you, no one knows their life purpose until they become an arahant, or at least until they become a Sri mentor. If you know that consciousness is the same, then how can the life purpose is different to everyone if consciousness is the same? People are not talking about their life purpose, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, they are talking about their dreams and goals. Your goal, your dream is not your purpose. When I say that, you might think, what? Then we thought that achieving my dream is my life purpose, and now I can be happy and I can happily die. When I listen to you, now I can't die happily even. Because most of you thought that you have achieved your goals. That means now you can be satisfied with your life purpose. I achieved the purpose of my life and now I'm ready to die. No, you are not ready to die because you didn't achieve it. Not only that, but also you didn't see it yet. You don't know about it. I didn't know the purpose of my life until I understood Dhamma. When I understood the Dhamma, actually I realized the purpose of my life. From that onwards, I do the purpose. I really enjoy my life. Can you imagine that? Can you enjoy your life, ladies and gentlemen? What do you mean by life? That's the other problem. You are waiting in a queue. Can you enjoy your life? You are still living there. You went to the bank and you are waiting for your chance. Isn't that your life? That's also your life because you live there. Wherever you live, that's your life. Yes or no? Not this. Isn't that the truth? Yeah? You listen to me, that's your life. I'm speaking to you, that's my life. This is not the time we spend, ladies and gentlemen. We spend our life here. Time is an illusion. Don't ever think about time. That's definitely an illusion. Don't think about that. Just think about life. When you have to wait for someone, perhaps in the airport, that's your life. You have to wait. That means you live there. Now, can you enjoy? You have a headache. When you have a headache, can you enjoy your life? That's the problem. That means you have to find something to enjoy. That means you only love part of your life. You only can enjoy a small part of your life. That's why no one can be happy with their life. Even the richest person in the world, or the most educated person in the world, the most beautiful person in the world, whatever, whoever. But when I understood the Dhamma, actually, I got a chance to enjoy my life without anyone, without anything, any specific thing. By talking to you, I really enjoy my life. Whether you listen to it or not, whether you understand it or not, I enjoy my life. When I listen to you, I enjoy my life. When I walk, when I have a shower, I enjoy my life. I don't want to meet any specific person, any special person to enjoy my life. Because I found the purpose of my life, then actually I live in there. I live in it. I want you to find that. In the Dhamma you will find it. In the Dhamma means not in the Dhamma, with the Dhamma I would say. With the Dhamma you will find it. We don't have many purposes. We only have one purpose. We all have one purpose. That's to live. That's the purpose of our life, to live. Hands up in your mind, those who had that purpose, just to live. That's our purpose. If you don't recognize that, you can't live. You try to live. Because your life will be tomorrow. Your life will be in next minute, next second, next moment. You can't live in your life because your life is in the present, ladies and gentlemen. When I say the present, we should agree that I'm talking about when causes come together, an effect is created, an effect manifests. That's the present I'm talking about, not the time present I'm talking about. The past, the present, the future, all these three times are illusions. They don't exist, but they exist in our mind. That's actually, those are illusional things. Those are illusions that are created in our mind. But when causes come together, an effect manifests. That's the reality of the world. When I say present, the present, we need to think about that. But I'm going to use the word the present, but don't ever think that is the present we have experienced so far. The present. The life is in the present. If you can enjoy that, if you can focus on that, you will achieve your all goals, ladies and gentlemen. Having a goal is not the problem. You can have a goal, but you should live in the present. When you live in the present, when you have few present moments, then you will achieve your goals. Then when do you be happy? Right now, when can you be happy? Right now. Right now means in the current situation. When you have a goal, first of all, you are vexed. When you are vexed, you can't stop yourself, therefore you try to achieve your goal. One day you will achieve it. When you achieve it, you will come out of vexation, then you feel a pleasure. That's called pleasure. That's not happiness, but let's say that's happiness, then you will achieve happiness after you achieve your goal. That means you have to wait until you achieve your goal. During that time, you have to suffer. You have to suffer and you try to achieve that. And one day you will achieve it, then you will be happy. You will be happy, then how long can you take that happiness? Can you feel that happiness? Only a moment. After that, it disappears. It disappears because it occurs due to relieving of vexation. When you come out of vexation, you feel pleasure. That's it. After that, you can't feel it anymore. It's only a flash in the pan. Within a second, it disappears. Then if you want it again, then you have to be vexed. And after that, try to do something to come out of vexation. When you come out of vexation, you will feel the same pleasure. That's what you do. You have goals, dreams, that means desires. You have desires, that means you always want to achieve something in the future. That means your life is in the future. When you have a goal, you will achieve it tomorrow. That means you will be happy in tomorrow, whatever the time you will achieve that. Then until that, you have to suffer. That's what happened to us. That's what happened to everyone. That's why no one is happy in this world. That's the reason. That's why everybody wants to be happy. That's why everybody does something to be happy. They are vexed. That's why you have a different lifestyle, ladies and gentlemen. You do something. You do something always to be happy. You try to live happily, but you completely forgot your life. That's the purpose of your life and you completely forgot it. If you can live in the present, you are the happiest person in the world. But it's really difficult for you to do that with ignorance and attachment. With ignorance and attachment, desires are created. Because of those desires, and aversion is created. Then you have to live with anger, resentment, unsatisfactory. You have to live there. One day you will achieve something, and suddenly you will feel pleasure, and it disappears. After that, your life will be empty again. Then you have to start your life with another purpose. That's why when you have achieved something, you try to achieve another thing. You always need that, ladies and gentlemen. Try to understand that. When you finish your A-levels, what did you do? You wanted to go to university. You wanted. Otherwise, you don't feel like you live. To feel your life, you wanted a goal. That's why you have been asked to have a goal. But I'm not saying that having a goal is wrong, but you can have a goal. You can have a goal if you can live in the present. If you can't live in the present, please don't have a goal. But you can't live without a goal, then you don't feel that. You don't feel your life. You need to feel your life. When you are vexed, actually you feel your life. That's why people are addicted to this, to have a goal. When you have a goal and when you have a lot of work to do, you feel like you are worthy. You feel like your life is so useful because you are so busy. You have many things to do. Therefore, you feel that, oh, I'm a very useful person. I'm a very useful person. That's how you feel that. And you think that it's correct. Because everyone is busy, everyone wants to do more work to feel their life. Then when you see us, then you say, oh, these people are useless. These people are monks and they only eat, drink, and they meditate somewhere. These people are useless. But we are not useless. That's how you think. We are not useless. We are so busy and we serve the world and we work day in and day out. We earn money, we build buildings, we create the world. Actually, why do you create the world, ladies and gentlemen? Do you really think that you got married to serve the humanity? No, to satisfy yourself. You are vexed. I'm sorry to say this, but you were so lustful and you wanted to get married. That's the reason. We need to understand the reason. You built a mansion. Why? To satisfy yourself. Because you felt so inferior. You felt so inferior. Therefore, you wanted to build a mansion and say that I'm so superior than you all. Therefore, you made a mansion and you live there. But two or three family members. But you have like 10 rooms, 25 toilets. In England, I can remember people show their wealth by counting their number of toilets in their house. I'm telling you. 5-bedroom house, or we have 3 toilets, or 5 toilets, 6 toilets. That's how. Actually, I'm not talking about English people. They live their normal life. But foreigners to that country, I have seen. Not everyone, but I have seen. Because they want to show off. Because they feel nothing. If you can't feel your life, you have to create something to feel yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, you will always achieve something materialistic. That's why having a beautiful car, you can show your superiority to others. That's why you use that. That's why you spend a lot to have materialistic things around you. That's why you have many things around you and you try to acquire more and more. That's why you need money, that's why you need education, that's why you are so busy. That's how you build the world. Because the necessity is the mother of invention. You have a necessity, not necessity, actually you have a wanting. Due to wanting, you are vexed, actually you have vexation in your mind. Then you need to do something to come out of vexation. The only path you know is building a house, or buying a car, manufacturing a new car. That's why people manufacture new cars, new vehicles, new buildings, new systems. They need them to satisfy themselves. That's their life. That's how you can enjoy your life. Because you are so busy. Because when you bought a car, you had to maintain it. When you bought a big house, you had to maintain that. Perhaps you had to use some servants. Yes, you can say that I use servants, do that, but who's going to pay for servants? You have to pay, therefore you have to work, you have to run a business. Perhaps one is not enough, because your next door neighbor also has one business. Therefore perhaps you need to do 2 to show your superiority, to feel that you are superior to your neighbor, you are superior to your siblings. That's how it is. Your sibling's daughter got good marks, people can't bear. But she's not the first. She didn't get the island rank. But still, people can't hold it. People can't bear it. Because they feel so inferior. Our parents got that. That's why we were forced to learn. We were forced to be educated. I know education is good, but that's not life. If you can learn how to be in the present, I don't think you need all these things to live. You need something to cover your body. You need something to eat to survive. You need a shelter over your head. You need some medicine. That's it. You live your life. You serve your life purpose. You will die happily. Not only your death, but also you will live happily and die happily. But right now, you can't live happily. You can't die happily. Because you have goals and dreams. I can show you something about wanting. When you have a wanting, your mind is vexed. We can't stop that. Because when you have a wanting, actually you don't have that. When you have a wanting, but when I have this, then I don't have a wanting. If I don't have something, I have a wanting. Wanting is created, or wanting is created due to attachment. Wanting is created due to attachment. Attachment is created due to ignorance. If you want to eradicate wanting, you need to eradicate attachment. In order to eradicate attachment, you need to eradicate ignorance. That means you need to associate with the Dhamma. That is the environment. That is the best environment you should achieve. The Dhamma. But if you don't have Dhamma, which means if you don't understand the Dhamma, the mind is ignorant. Due to ignorance, the mind gets attached to things. Perhaps ideas, views, not only materialistic things, especially views. The mind gets attached to views, ladies and gentlemen. That's why. Perhaps you have a different opinion about something. But when I talk against it, you will be angry. Anger is created in your mind when I talk against your views, your opinions. You feel that that's why people argue all the time. That's why perhaps people can't have a happy marriage life, happy married life. They can't have it because they have different opinions. When they have different opinions, one has to sacrifice. Not happily, just to survive. One has to sacrifice. But you got married to be happy. But finally, you had to sacrifice your life. One has to sacrifice all the time. Therefore, both of them can't be happy because they have different views. Because you are different human beings, ladies and gentlemen. But consciousness is the same, but you are not. You can't feel consciousness. When you can't feel consciousness, you feel a different human being in you. And when you feel that you are a different human being, now you have different views, different goals, different aims. You have your favorite color. Your favorite color is different to your husband's or wife's or your spouse's favorite color. Then you have to argue with the color. Perhaps different actor different actors and different actresses. You argue, you fight with all these things. So, very simple things. But that's a view. The mind gets attached to views. Especially. When the mind gets attached to views, the mind can't come out of that. Then the mind is vexed. Then the mind wants to win. That's why you fight. You can't listen to this sermon with a serene mind. Because I will tell something against your views, against your opinions. Then you will be angry. But you will forgive me. You say, no, I will forgive you. Okay, tell me. I will forgive you, tell me. Then perhaps I will take your forgiveness at least 10, 20 times. You forgive me because I am Guru Handuru. You respect me. But still, you will be angry. You can't stop that. Anger is created in your mind. You can't stop them. Anger and all the emotions, you can't stop them, less Sachana. All the emotions are created in your mind, unbeknown to you. You can know that you can know that anger is created, or anger was created. You can't feel that anger is created. You can feel that anger was created. Then you can stop reacting. That's it. Anyhow, now wanting is created due to attachment. But when a wanting is created, the mind is vexed. If I put it into a graph, let's assume that you have a wanting, that means you got attached to a house. This is not the house you got attached. This is not the house you got attached. This is a small kuti for us. I can draw your dream palace here. Right. Now, in this case, you got attached to a house. When you get attached to the house, at the same time, the mind is vexed. So now we can draw. This is vexation. Then your mind is vexed. Now this is the vexation, number of units, whatever. Now you want a house, but you don't have a house. But you want a house eagerly. You want it, but you don't have it. Then you try to achieve it. When you try to achieve it, your vexation level increases. Increases. And one day you will achieve this. Now you went to your friends and you borrowed some money, and you went to your bank and you borrowed some money. However, finally you got money. Now you have a house. When you have a house, what will happen to your vexation? Your vexation decreases. Because you had vexation before you were so let's assume that you were so happy. Let's assume that. Why we had to assume? You always have to assume that you were so happy. That's how you think. When someone did something to you, then you think that because of him, you are suffering now. Otherwise, you were so. Tell me. You were so happy. That's how we feel. He destroyed my life. She destroyed my life. Otherwise, I was so happy. I'm telling you, you haven't felt happiness yet. I'm sorry to say these things, ladies and gentlemen, but we will achieve this. We don't have everything we want. We need to achieve that. Let's achieve it. I'm going to help you to achieve this. But let me tell these things to you. Right. Now, let's assume that before you were so happy, or you were neutral. You didn't have vexation in your mind. Now, when you want something, now your vexation level comes up to here. After that, now you want to achieve it. Until you achieve that, you don't have it. When you don't have it and you try to achieve it, now vexation increases. Therefore, it increases up to here. Then you achieved it. When you achieved it, what happened to vexation? It decreases. It decreases up to where? Up to it decreases to where? Can it go here? Here? No, ladies and gentlemen. It will stop here. I'll explain. It stops here. Why? Before you didn't have any problem. But you got a view that house is so nice, so beautiful. When you have that, you will be so superior to everyone. Then, however, you got a desire. That means you got attached to that house. When you got attached to that house, now you have a wanting. When you have a wanting, at the same time, vexation is created. Now the mind is vexed. That's how this level is created. Now this is vexation. This is vexation. After that, you want to achieve it, still you don't have it. You try, but still you don't have it. Therefore, vexation level increases up to this point. After that, you achieved it. Therefore, it decreases to here. Why it doesn't decrease to here? Because it started from here. Why doesn't it come to here, ladies and gentlemen? Here, vexation due to wanting. You want it. You want it. Therefore, the mind is vexed. That's why vexation level is here. After that, you didn't have it and you wanted to achieve that. Therefore, it goes up to here. After that, you achieved it, then it comes down. But now let's assume that you have a house. Before you wanted a house, after that you achieved it, and now you have a house. Can I ask a question? Answer this, please. Do you still want this house? You wanted a house? Yeah? Okay. You achieved it. Now, my question is, do you still want that house? If you don't want it, then offer it to the sasana. You wanted a child, and you achieved it, which means you have a child, no? No? If you don't want, then offer him to the sasana. You wanted a car, and you achieved it. You achieved it, now you have the car, and if you don't want the car, then offer it to the sasana. Tell me the answer. Tell me the answer. Do you still want or not? You still want it, ladies and gentlemen. You still want it. This vexation is created due to wanting. This vexation is created due to not having it, not owning it. This will stay there until your death. That's why I told you, you can't die happily, because you have a house and you still want it. This was created due to wanting. When you achieve something, if you don't want that, then I can draw the line to zero. But you still want it. That's why you keep it and you maintain it. When you have a house, you maintain it. Yeah? Okay, now you can see, now your life was here. Let's assume that your life was here, life was in zero. But now this is like 10%. Now, you achieved it. When you achieved it, you are so addicted to goals and dreams. And this becomes normal when you achieve something. This becomes normal because whatever you have, you don't care. What do you think? When you have something, you don't care. That's why when you bought a new car, you open the door like this. After a few years, how do you close the door? By kicking it. So as the wife. Can't you remember? Ladies, can't you remember? The love you felt at the beginning and the love you feel right now. Then we have a solution. Have a wife yearly, annually. These are the solutions you all take, ladies and gentlemen. Because when you feel so normal about your house, you go for another one. Another house or another car, because you need another goal, another dream to feel your life. That's how you feel that you are so important, because you are so busy and you are so vexed. When you are so vexed and you try to achieve something, then you feel that you are living. And you are so important. Okay, let's assume that now your mind is vexed. Then now you got another goal. You want to buy a car. When you want to buy a car, now you have a wanting. Due to that wanting, this is for a car. This is for a car. This vex. Now it is 20%. Now you start from there, because when you get the view, at the same time, a desire is created and wanting is created. And a wanting is created. Now you want a car, therefore now you want to achieve that. When you want to achieve it, you achieve it, and vexation level increases up to this level, then you achieve it. When you achieve that, it decreases up to here. Up to here? No. It decreases up to here. Now I'm going to show you the purpose of life. Because you thought that these are the purposes. I know you lived for your house, you lived for your car, you lived for your family, but you didn't live for your life. You live in others' lives, but you couldn't live in yours. That's why everyone is unsuccessful in this world. If you want to be successful, you have to live in your life, ladies and gentlemen, not in others. You can't decorate your face, because when you decorate your face, I would say decoration, no? When you decorate your face, others will see that. If you really want to see that, then you have to carry a mirror with you. Just, oh, I'm so beautiful. I'm so beautiful. I'm so beautiful. You don't do that. You ask others, am I beautiful? When they say yes, right. Then you believe it and you show your face to everyone. You wanted others to be happy by seeing you because of your ego, because of inferiority complex. Because of the inferiority complex. You were suffering. You wanted others' opinions all the time. Am I beautiful? Am I so handsome? Then you are waiting for their answer. When they say, yes, you are so beautiful, then you felt so happy. You live in others' life. You live in others' lives, not yours. Let me help you to live in your life. Your life is in the present. Let me help you to be in the present. And after that, you can have many goals if you want. As many goals you need, you can have them. But if you know how to live in the present. Now, you wanted a car. When you have that wanting, that idea, that wanting, the mind was vexed. Therefore, vexation level increases up to here. Actually, for some people means for the majority, this is forever. I can prove that. Then vexation level increases up to here. Then you bought the car. Then it comes down to this point. Now, because you still want the car. You wanted the car, you have a car, but it's still you want it. Therefore, vexation level stays here. Then you wanted a wife, a spouse. Again, you saw a beautiful woman. You saw a handsome man. Right. As soon as you got the view, then a desire is created and the mind is vexed again. Then you wanted her. You tried with flowers, chocolate, and all these things. You tried with all these things. Finally, few letters, and whatever. You know what you did, and finally you achieved it. Then again you come. Vexation comes here. That's it. Now, vexation level is here. Then you wanted a child, because you saw so adorable child when you went to see one of your friends. Then you saw her and or their son or daughter. Then they were so adorable. Then you wanted a kid, a child. Then you wanted again. You achieved. Then your vexation level is there. Now tell me, do I have to draw more, or did you understand that? Now tell me, do you have this? Yes. 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 Do you have this? Yes, 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 yes. Right? When you are on your deathbed, perhaps you will be here or here. Then tell me, how can your death be a happy one? But you thought that these are the purpose or purposes of your life. You wanted to become a millionaire because you can achieve these things. You wanted to become a good social worker because you can be happy with achieving these things again, and a good name. Where's your life? From here to here, you were vexed. From here to here, you were vexed. You were vexed. Right now, when you feel, or when you remember one of these things, your mind is vexed because you still want it. Just think about your children. When you listen to me, you can't remember them. But when I ask you to think about your children, then you will come to this level. Because you want them. Now you think about them and you want them, and if you lose them, then you think that. You can't stop. Now how can you be a happy person, ladies and gentlemen? Do you really think that this is your life purpose? Then one day when you come to here, actually you are the richest person in the world. When you come up to here, you are the richest person in the world. Can you be the richest person in the world without all the materialistic wealth? To become the richest person in the world, you need to acquire everything. And say that, I am the richest person, I have everything, I have more things, many things than you. To stay in that level, you have to keep all these things. That means you want this, you want this, you want this, you want this, and again you want this. Because you have to maintain that level. If you are the richest person, then you have to maintain that title. To maintain that title, you have to have all these things. You have to keep all these things with you. Then how can you be happy? You can't be happy without eradicating all these things, ladies and gentlemen. You need to eradicate your wantings, all of your wantings. That's why we are gathered here. You are going to use all these things what you have, but you are going to leave them from your mind. You live in the present. But you can have many things. In this monastery, we have many things. But we don't live in there. We live in our mind, which means we live in the present. Whenever we use this Dhamma hall, we use it. But we live in our mind. We are not recognized by the Dhamma hall. The money we have, you offered money to feed us. Money, or whatever goods you offer to the sasana. But we are not recognized by those things. Because we live in our mind, which means we live in the present. That's the purpose. We should live in the present as much as we can. When you become an arahant, you will live in the present. You will have many things. The Buddha, this monastery belongs to the Buddha. All the monasteries in the world, the Buddhist monasteries in the world, belong to the Buddha. Let's assume that if he if he was still alive, these things, all these things, belong to him. But do you really think that he will be recognized by all these things? He will be identified by all these things? No. He lives in the present, which means he will be nature, or he is nature. The Buddha is nature. An Arahant is nature. You need to try to be nature. Right now, you are a part of nature. That's why you feel yourself and others. If you are nature, you don't have to feel yourself and others, because nature is just one. But when you feel yourself, you feel others, and then you differentiate between yourself and others. When you differentiate between yourself and others, now you need to change others to make yourself happy. Therefore, some people want other people to be poor, then they can feel superior. If you want to win something, someone has to lose. You are in that business. You want others to lose in order to win and feel so superior. How can you say that? You practice loving kindness and you practice love, you believe in love. How can you say that? If you want other people to lose in front of you, then you may have a question in your mind. Then how can we be happy? If we can't win, we can't be happy. That's how we have been taught, ladies and gentlemen. This is not the proper way of living. This method is completely wrong. But we can't change that, but we can tell you this. We can tell you, we can teach you, but we can't change the world. But try to change yourself if you can. But perhaps it's too late, because you have been taught this and now it is strengthened. And you strongly believe it. And you need to win to be happy. In our childhood, we had been taught, if you can remember, we had to take the first place. That's what everyone had been taught in our childhood. Therefore, we wanted to get the first prize. We didn't want to get a good education. Perhaps we wanted to be the first, and we wanted to maintain that. Therefore, at that time, also we didn't have a life. We suffered a lot, because when we do maths at that time, when we did maths, and we were thinking about others, because I'm doing this to win. I want you to lose. If we can, we would hold their pen and write our exam, because then we can become first. This is how we were. This is how the world is. This is a disgusting world, ladies and gentlemen. But nature is so pure. I'm not talking about nature. This is defiled mind. Here, these are defiled minds. The mind is defiled. Therefore, the mind feels separation. The mind feels that it is a part of nature, and the mind feels others. Therefore, the mind is waiting to be superior. Therefore it wants to win. You all want to win. Then only will you feel your superiority. This is not loving kindness. This is not love. We need to find a different method to be happy without winning. And the other thing is, if you want to win, you can't be happy. If you want to win, your victory will be in the future. Then you can't be happy. Your life is in the present. In the present you only feel vexation. Because your victory will be in the future. Because you can't win anything in the present. If you want to win, first of all you should have an expectation, then you should work towards it, then you will achieve that. Then that's called a victory. Without any expectation, can you win something? Like, let's assume that. You want to win someone's heart. If you want to win someone's heart, that means you have expectations and you have a wanting and you are vexed and you try to come out of vexation by doing all these things. And finally, when they say, yes, I'm one of your friends, accept that, then you feel a victory. You won his or her heart. Let's assume this. You are here and someone comes to you and say, I love you. Did you win something? You didn't know that person. And someone came to you suddenly and says, I love you. Did you win something? No, without an expectation, you can't win anything. You have to have an expectation to win something. That's why if you want to win, you have to live in the future to win. Because in the present you can't win. In the present you can be only neutral. You can't win anything. Therefore, if you try to win something, but I know you always want to win. You don't want to lose, do you? You don't want to lose. You want to win. When you argue, you want to win. When you fight, you want to win. When you want to achieve something, you want to win. That's why everyone is in a rat race. Everybody wants to win. And everybody wants to live, everybody wants to rule the world. Everybody wants to be so powerful. That means win. When it comes to an election, they want to win. When it comes to a job opportunity, you want to win. That means you have to live with an expectation, then finally you try to achieve that because of vexation. Somehow when you achieve it one day, then you will have the victory, which means you will be happy at that time. That is not happiness, but that is only pleasure. That is only pleasure, and it will disappear within a second. But still, if we want to be happy, then we should find a method. But if you want to win, you'll never be happy in this world, in this life. I can guarantee it, if you want to win. But without winning, what happened to my life? My life will be so useless if I don't win anything. That's how people believe. That's how we have been taught. That's why in our school we have a prize giving and colors night, because to celebrate. Victory. But the problem is everybody wants to be happy. That's the problem. Then everybody wants to win and everybody wants to be happy. You have to choose one of those two things. If you want to win, you can't be happy. If you want to be happy, you can't win. That doesn't mean that you have to lose to be happy. The Buddha said, Jayang Veram Pasavati, Dukkhan Seti Parajito. Jayang Veram Pasavati. When you win, you will create enemies. Haven't you experienced that? When you lose, you have to live and you have to suffer. Simply. You have to suffer. When you lose. Then when you have enemies, when can you enjoy your life? When you have enemies? No. Again you have to suffer. And when you lose, you will suffer. When you have enemies, you will be afraid. When you lose, you will suffer. Then what can we do? What is the other thing? Can we draw the match then? Like a cricket match? No one wins. Then what can we do? The Buddha said the answer. Upasanto sukhan seti hitva jaya parajaya. The person who has understood the Dhamma, which means the person who has a serene mind, stays calm without victory or defeat. Then how can we achieve that? Victory without achieving the victory, without getting defeated. What can we do? How can we live? That's in the Dhamma. When we understand the Dhamma, then we won't have any expectation. When you have an expectation, you will have a victory or defeat. But if you don't have an expectation, then you won't have a victory. Perhaps you will achieve it, but that won't be a victory. You will achieve it naturally, because you work towards it and you will achieve it naturally. But you don't want to fight for that. You are not vexed, therefore anytime you can stop that. But can you stop your business right now? You can't, because that's your life, that's not your business. That's your life, that's your everything. That means the ego, which is created in your mind, is identified with your business. You are a businessman. Therefore you can't stop that. And you can't stop your lifestyle. If I ask you to come and join us, come to the monastery and live with us, then you have to stop your lifestyle. But you are recognized or you are identified by this life or this lifestyle. Therefore you can't leave it. Then when you come, by leaving that, if you come here, then you will feel like nobody. That's what happened to newcomers to the monastery. They feel like nobody. Their mind is so vexed. They need the Dhamma. Then, within a few days, then they will be okay. Otherwise, they feel so inferior because they were so rich or well educated. When they come to the monastery, they don't have anything. Because we never use their titles. We have professors there or doctors there. We don't use their titles. But in the world, if they are called by their name, Mr. something, they correct others. Mr. Doctor. I'm not Mr. I use one word, John. I am Dr. John. Because the ego is identified with the doctorate. Then let's go back to your life purpose. Now in this case, by achieving all these things, achieving all these materialistic things, you never achieve anything. You never achieve happiness. You can't live in your life and you can't live in the present. To live in the present, we need to understand the Dhamma. Let's understand the Dhamma now. Because I always want you to understand the Dhamma. Otherwise, I really want to understand the Dhamma because I have understood this. I really want to understand the Dhamma. I really want to practice the Dhamma. But do you? That's the problem. If you want to understand the Dhamma, you will understand it with or without my help. You will practice it with or without my advice. I don't have to force you to practice the path when you understand this. Because I didn't force you to buy a house, did I? I didn't force you to buy a house, I didn't force you to buy a car, I didn't force you to get married. I didn't do anything. No one did. Because you wanted that. When you wanted, you are vexed and you want to achieve that. But in this case, when you realize the Dhamma, then you will leave all these things. Leave means you will leave these things from your mind and you will focus on your salvation. Then you can use these things. You need a vehicle to come to the monastery. Therefore, don't sell it. Don't offer it to the sasana. Use it. Use it. You need a shelter, which means you need your house. Don't offer it to the sasana. Keep it with you. That's fine. But let's focus on your salvation. Your salvation is within you. Your salvation is within you. But the problem is, due to the ego, now you have a different personality. You are a different person now. You are not consciousness. But actually, you are consciousness. You don't feel it. When you feel that you are consciousness, then you don't need all these materialistic things. Because consciousness doesn't need to be identified with anything. Because that is consciousness. But if you feel that you are a different person, and if you don't have even a face, then you have to find a face. You have to find a body. Don't you feel that you are a person? Just tell me. Don't you feel that you are a person? You feel that you are a person. If you are a person, what is the first thing you need? You need the identity. At least you need a face to introduce yourself to others. Let's assume that you are a person and you don't have a body. Then what would you do? You feel that you are a person, but you don't have a name, you don't have a face. That means you don't have a body. Actually, you can't live like that. Therefore, when you feel that you are a person, you need something to be identified with. That's why you means the ego is identified with the body. That's why you think that this body is you. That's why you maintain it. That's why when you are in your 80s, you feel that you are so old now. Because you feel your body. You feel all the aches you have. And you see grey hair. You see wrinkles on your face, on your skin. Then you feel that you are old now. But the mind is The mind is created right now, ladies and gentlemen. The mind is brand new. That's why I told you, if you can live in the present, you will be brand new all the time. You won't feel your age. Actually, there is no such thing called aging or age. It is time-bound. If anything is time-bound, that is an illusion. Because time is an illusion. That's why velocity, you have a speed. What is the unit? Meters per second. Second is involved. That means this is an illusion. When I say velocity is an illusion, perhaps you don't believe that. But in the future you will believe it. It is an illusion. You can't measure this without the mind. Because the mind, which means the ego, not the mind actually, the ego feels time. Because the ego needs time to survive. Because the ego is an entity. The ego, at least the ego feels that it's an entity. Therefore, when it is an entity, it needs 3 times. The past, the present, and the future. That's why when the ego is created, the ego lives in those 3 times. When something moves from here to here, it can move, ladies and gentlemen, but how do you feel velocity? To feel velocity, you need the mind. Otherwise, if it wants to move from here to here, it needs only energy. There is only one thing which is true in this universe. That is called energy. Apart from that, everything is an illusion. Everything is mind-made. All the units we use, that is mind-made. You will realize this in the future. In the future means not in the future, in the present, but in the future. When the ego is created, the ego needs to live in these times. Therefore, the ego feels all these things. The ego wants everything to be fast. Because the ego deals with time. But, now we don't need this, but consciousness doesn't need time. Consciousness is this. In Pali, we call Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana. In English, let's say that this is the process of the mind. That's enough for now. This is the process of the mind. It is a process, and this is the process of the mind. This is called consciousness. That means when you hear a sound, that is called consciousness. When you see a color, that is consciousness. Because when you see a color, you don't see a color which is in the world. When you see this, actually, this red color is created in your mind, and it is projected onto this due to light rays. You feel that red color is on this, but it is created in your mind. We have discussed this before, and it is scientifically proven. This red color is created in your mind. Therefore, this is the rupa, which means if we consider about eyes and form, then this is the rupa, which is colors, which is a color. The color is created. Let's say the red color is created here. Then red color is created. Then it comes to perception. Then you perceive it. This process is called consciousness. That's why you all have the same consciousness. Consciousness is the same to everyone. Not only human beings, but also to everyone, every creature in this world, every sentient being. This is consciousness, and it is the same. That's why I told you, you are not different. You are not a different person. You are consciousness, and you are the same. You are everywhere. When you realize this one, you can say that I am nature, I am the universe. That's why in Hinduism it says, Aham Brahmasmi. When someone achieves salvation, then he can say, according to Hinduism, he can say, Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi means I am nature, I am the universe. Then if you touch this point, that means if you don't feel that you are a separate person, if you don't feel that you are separated from nature, if you feel that you are nature, then you are everywhere. Then you can say, Aham Brahmasmi. Then you can say that I am nature, or I am the universe. To achieve that, we need to stop from here. That means this is the life. Once Jesus Christ said, the life, he said, I am the life, which means he used the life, specific life. Actually, this is it. The life or the kingdom of heaven, according to Christianity. According to the Buddha, this is consciousness, which is the same. You can't find different consciousness. Consciousness is the same. Wherever you check, in this body, in this body, in this body, in this body, in a body of an ant, an elephant, you will find the same consciousness. That's what we need to achieve. When a person called Daruchirya came to the Buddha, he was very wise, and he came to the Buddha and asked an instant method to become an arahant. Then Buddha said, Ditte Ditta Matta, which means when you see something, or when you perceive something by seeing, it's only a perception. By seeing. Which means, with this, due to ignorance and attachment, another process is created. Due to ignorance, attachment is created. Due to attachment, vexation is created. Due to vexation, something called abhisankara. That is the safety mechanism of the mind, but let's don't think about right now. This is a process of defilements, that's it. Then vexation, after vexation, abhisankara is created. Then due to abhisankara, you will feel the ego. The ego is a process. The ego is not a person. But you feel that you are a person. You think that is in your mind, that is fixed in your mind. No, that is not fixed in your mind. It is only a process. It happens simultaneously with this one. This is the mind, this is the perception. When you act, when you talk, when you think, you only use this one. This can't do anything. This is only a feeling. When you feel this one, then you feel a different person. That's the only purpose of this. It makes you feel a different person, or a person. Person means an entity. Due to the ego, you feel an entity. Apart from that, the ego can't do anything. When you act, the mind does that. When you talk, the mind does that. When you think, the mind does that. But when you act, the ego is also created. Therefore, you feel that you do something. Action occurs, and The ego is created, then at the same time you feel that I'm doing something. That action is mine. I have done the action. That's why you always talk about this. You are not lying, ladies and gentlemen. You are not lying. Actually, you feel this. And when I say this, you never believe it even. You think that, no, this is me. And I did all these things. I have created my life. I have created all these things. That's how you think. You always think that I have created all these things. I have made all these things. I have learnt and all this. But you haven't done anything, ladies and gentlemen. What happened was the mind has been created. The mind has been created. All the actions, all the talks you have done so far, all the thoughts and the thinking processes you have done so far happened in the mind, but you felt yourself because of the ego. And because of the ego, actually, you suffered. You suffered a lot because you wanted, because of the ego. The mind doesn't want anything, but the ego wants, because the ego lives in 3 times, but the mind lives only in the present. The ego lives in 3 times, but again, the mind lives only in the present. Therefore, if something lives in the present, it doesn't have any expectation. If you lived here, and if you are living here, and if you will live here, I'll use this will and all these things, right? Then here, when you are here, this is your future and this is your past. When you are here, you feel this and this. In this case, you live in these 3 times. Therefore, when you live in this present, which is the wrong present, this is completely wrong, but this is also called the present. That's the problem. Therefore, don't misunderstand this. Don't get it wrongly. The present we use is the Buddha's present, which means when causes come together, an effect manifests. When that manifestation occurs, that's called the present. You can't measure it by time. You can't ask how long will it take, or how long does it take. You can't ask that. When causes are there, an effect is created. If you want to understand this, I'll draw this and tell me, well, I want to draw 12, but I can't draw 12, you know that. I can draw only 1 and 2. I'm going to draw 1 and 2. Tell me, how long will it take, or how long does it take 12 to be manifested? How long? Now you can see that you can't apply time. 12 manifests, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't take time. It doesn't take time means actually time is not involved here. In that case, the world is timeless. But when you say timeless, we need to understand that time is not involved. That's why when you use time to do maths, meters per second and all these things, it is correct when you are on the earth. But when you go to the space, you have to find new methods, because no one is there to identify velocity and all these things. Now, let's come back to this again. Now you can see, when the ego is created, it lives in 3 times. Therefore, it can have an expectation. Then if you have an expectation, actually this is not you, this is the ego. Do you have an expectation, ladies and gentlemen, right now? Any expectation? If you don't have any expectation, so that's great. If you don't have any expectation, any goal, any expectation. But we know that we all have expectations. You all have expectations, ladies and gentlemen. When you have an expectation, you should understand that this is not you. Actually, this is the ego within you. But the ego is a process. You can eradicate that. You can cease the process and you can completely be free from suffering, because the ego creates suffering. When you have an expectation, you are vexed. When you can't enjoy your life, you will enjoy your life. Always, you will enjoy your life. Therefore, you can say that I will enjoy my life one day. That's what you said in your childhood. You said that I will enjoy my life one day because I'm going to get a good education and I will do a good job and I will start a business. I start up a business and I'll be happy one day. Then when I get married, I'll be happy one day. When we have kids, we will be happy one day. Can't you remember that? Then when I finish my work, when I finish my job, when I get my pension, then I'll be happy. Then finally you have to say that when I die, I will be happy. But don't forget that you can't die. You will come back. Whether you believe it or not, you will come back. When you come back, you will realize that. Right now, if you want, you can think that no, I won't come back. This from here to here. That is the life. After that, everything finishes. Yes, that's what you can see. But you will come back. I can guarantee for that. You will come back. You will realize at that time. But then it will be too late. At that time, you won't get the Dhamma. Right now, you got the chance to understand the Dhamma. That's why we always ask you to, request you to do this. However, try to practice this, try to understand this, because this is the chance, this is a golden opportunity you got. If you miss this chance, you never get it back. Therefore, don't try to miss the boat. This is one of the greatest opportunities you got in your life. Let's go back to this again. Now you can see, when you have an expectation, you suffer and you have vexation and you try to achieve that. That's how you have built your world. But actually you have built your world which doesn't belong to you. If you take the entire world, you have built all the wealth you have acquired, all the pieces of land you have acquired. You don't have them. If you have, show me. You don't have them. Because you are born right now. I can be your mother. Did you hear that? That's consciousness. That's consciousness. You are born. Actually, we can't say that I was born. But in English or in worldly, we can say that yes, I was born. I was born in 1980, wherever. I was born. But you can't say I was born. Actually, you have to say I am born. If you really want to use I, the word I, you have to say I am born because you are born right now. I can make it happen again. Very easy. I can control you all. I am God. Because I can control your life. Try not to listen to this. Whatever you think, you will hear this. If you don't plug your ears, you will listen to this. That means consciousness is created. That is consciousness. What is the difference between your consciousness and others' consciousness? Find it out. A sound is created and the sound is perceived. In between, there is a process. That happens everywhere. But due to the ego, you feel that you are a separate person. And you live in all these three times, therefore you have expectations. Now you need to deal with those expectations, and you have to live in the future always. And you will feel only future, you can't feel in the present. In the present, you only feel vexation, and you try to be happy in the future. Therefore, this is your enemy. We need to deal with this. But if you try to earn more money, that doesn't help. I know that you need money, but that doesn't help. You are suffering not because you don't have money, actually, but because the ego. This is the only case we have. This is the only problem we have, ladies and gentlemen. If you can eradicate this, if you can sacrifice your life to eradicate this, then you will win. Then you will feel your life. This will be your life purpose. And in this case, I have to say this, when I say this will be your life purpose, but don't try to achieve this one in the future, because you can't achieve your Nibbana in the future. You need to achieve Nibbana in the present. In the present means, one day you will realize that you live in the present, that's your Nibbana, that's your salvation. But if you think that you need to achieve your salvation in the future, tomorrow I will practice the path, day after tomorrow I will achieve my salvation, you never achieve your salvation, because you live in the present, you live in the future, ladies and gentlemen. You can't achieve your salvation in the future, because salvation is in the present. To achieve your salvation, the only thing you need to do is you need to eradicate ignorance. The Buddha has discovered this, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have to create. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. It is already there. The Buddha taught us. That's what I'm telling you. You can find it in the Bible. You can find it in the Bhagavad Gita if you want. I will tell you one thing, what is in the Bhagavad Gita. Then you will realize that whatever the holy book you use, you can achieve your salvation. But you need someone who has achieved or who has understood the Dhamma. Then he will show you the meanings of these words, those scriptures. Otherwise you will only see ink, ladies and gentlemen. You will only see ink. When you read a book, first of all you will see only ink. If you can't identify those letters, then if you can't get the meaning, get the real meaning, then it's only a normal book. To become a holy book, your mind should be holy, ladies and gentlemen. You should be able to understand that. You should be able to understand the spiritual master's mind. That's why, if you want to attain Nibbana, you need to understand the Buddha's mind. Not Buddha's wisdom I'm talking about, the Buddha's mind. You can understand Buddha's wisdom. We never can understand that. It is extraordinary. And we can't reach to that level. But we can understand the Buddha's mind. When we understand the Buddha's mind, then we can read the Tripitaka. Then we will understand that. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says, Janma karmacha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti saurjunaha. Bhagavan Krishna said, when you understand the birth, I use the birth, which means this is not a birth of someone. This is the birth of the ego, which means when you feel yourself, that's your birth. That's why I told you, you are born right now. In this case, as well as in this case. The mind is created right now, as well as the ego is also created right now. Therefore, you can't say, I was born in 1950. You have to say that I am born right now. You feel yourself right now due to the ego. But in the previous mind also, you had the same feeling. You had the same ego. Therefore, you can remember that I was in the last minute or last mind. I was in the previous one. That's why you can feel that I was in my childhood. I was born in 19 something. But actually, the ego is created right now. When the mind is created, the ego is also created simultaneously. This is the problem. Then, janma. Janma means the birth of the ego, which means the false sense of existence. Janma, karmacha. Karma means abhisankara. Abhisankara means when the mind is vexed, the mind has a safety mechanism to protect the mind, to survive. Therefore, when the mind is vexed, that safety mechanism is activated. That safety mechanism is called karma. Then, janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha. When you understand janma and karma with divine wisdom means with the Dhamma. With the Dhamma you will achieve wisdom. That's called divine wisdom. That's not normal wisdom like velocity and all this energy and all this. That is also wisdom. When we go to school and we achieve some wisdom, we get some wisdom from our teachers. That is normal, that is worldly. But when it comes to divine wisdom means the wisdom you get through the Dhamma, spiritual wisdom. Then through spiritual wisdom, when you understand the ego and abhisankara, which means karma, when you understand it fully, tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. When you leave this body, you won't be born again. You won't be born again means when the ego is eradicated completely. That means ignorance and attachment is eradicated completely, ego won't be created again. When the ego is not created, then you're free from your suffering. And finally, when you come to your last breath, then you will leave this body and you won't be born again and you won't suffer anymore. That's why, whatever the book you use, you will find the truth. This is the only way you can feel your life. This is the only way you can find your life purpose. Please try to understand this. Otherwise, you will have a different life purpose and you will achieve that. After that, you will have another one and your life will be ruined. And you will be born again and you will have another life purpose. To understand the universe, you need to understand the Dhamma, which means Dhamma means righteousness. Righteousness means not goodness or badness. Righteousness is the reality of nature. You need to understand reality of nature. There are three main things you need to understand. Those are the characteristics of nature: anicca, dukkha and anatta. When you understand anicca and when you practice it, you will be anicca one day. When you will be anicca one day, that means you will be nature. Anicca means in the present. Anicca, if I explain anicca means the theory of cause and effect. When something happens according to the theory of cause and effects, that's called anicca. Therefore, this 12 is anicca. You can see that two causes come together and effect. And an effect is, or an effect manifest. This is only a manifestation. This is not fixed, because I didn't draw 12. I only draw 1 and 2. I only drew 1 and 2, but 12 manifests. This is how it is. This is plastic. Plastic is an effect. It has a chemical structure: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. When these atoms come together, an effect is created. Apart from these atoms, this is nothing. Therefore, you can't have a pen and some atoms, can you? When those atoms come together, a pen is created, a pen manifests. Therefore, this is an effect. Your body is an effect. Your mind is an effect. When you realize that, then you will live in the present. Because the world, the entire world is a manifestation. Nature is a manifestation. You will realize that. You need to learn and practice, put into your life experiences, then you will see that. Everything is a manifestation in this world. The entire world is a manifestation, and the entire universe is a manifestation. Whatever you tell, this one is a manifestation, this one is a manifestation. Your mind is a manifestation. If you take this rupa, which means a color which is created in your mind, that's also a manifestation. That's why you don't have to create it and you don't have to delete it. When causes are there and an effect is created, or an effect manifests, when causes are not there, then it doesn't manifest. That's it. It manifests and it doesn't manifest. That's it. When causes are there, when causes are there, 12 manifest. When causes are not there, it doesn't manifest. If cells are there, your body manifests. If cells are not there, your body doesn't manifest. Therefore, if you take all the cells out of your body, what will remain? Nothing. If you take all the atoms out of your body, what will remain? Nothing. If you take all the subatomic particles from your body, what will remain? Nothing. But you feel that you have a specific body, special and specific body, because you feel the ego, and the ego is identified with the body, then this body also becomes a separate entity. But this body is not a separate entity. This body is the same, because we all eat same things, the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. Rice and curry, bread, all these things. Do you eat gold and silver? No, we all eat the same thing. If we all eat the same thing, how can we have a different body? We have a different body structure, ladies and gentlemen. It's only a structure. It's only a structure. Can't you borrow this body? If you think that your body is too old, try to borrow a small one. Huh? Because it is the same, but we can't borrow it, but actually it is the same. Haven't you seen your grandfather? Then you will be like him. Not you, the body will be like that. When you understand that you can live in this old body, if you have an old body, you can live in that old body, but you will have a brand new life. You can live in a paralyzed body, but you will have a brand new life. But if the ego manifests and it is identified with the body, then you will be paralyzed one day. Because when the body is paralyzed, you will be paralyzed. When the body is old, you are old. A man's body, you are a man. A woman's body, then you are a woman. That's how you feel. Let's assume that your consciousness is created in a, let's say one of our ladies' consciousness is created in a gentleman's body. What will happen? What the ego feels? Because that is created right now, ladies and gentlemen. That is created right now. It doesn't have a past unless it gets from the memory. Then it is identified with the body. Then it thinks that I'm a man now. And right now you think that you are a woman. You think that you are a man. Because what is the gender of consciousness, ladies and gentlemen? Man consciousness and women consciousness, child consciousness? Do we have all types of consciousness? No. This is consciousness. Because what is the gender of this color? Red color? Gender? Red and reddy? Blue and bluey? Green and greeny? Do we have these names and gender? No. This is only consciousness. When you see this, red color is created in your mind. That is consciousness, and it is perceived. That is consciousness. If it is consciousness, then how can you tell the gender? But now we know that we have gender discrimination. Because that's how we feel. Age discrimination. Color discrimination. I'm white, I'm black, I'm brown. I'm Asian, I'm Caucasian, I'm African, I'm this and that. All these things. But you are the same consciousness. You are nature, ladies and gentlemen. Don't try to be separated from nature. But I know that you don't try to be. It occurs, it happens. You can't stop that unless you eradicate the ignorance. Therefore, I want you to practice anicca. That is the path to nature. Because that is one of the main characteristics of nature. If you practice those characteristics, you will be nature. Before I became a monk, I had to practice. I had to practice all the characteristics of a monk. Then eventually I became a monk. Everybody has to do that. That's why we take 1 year. Our anagarikas had to be in that anagarika stage for 1 year to practice those characteristics. Then they will eventually become a monk. When they become a monk, we will know that he is a monk now. When he is a monk, we will ordain him. That's why we take that year. He has to practice. He has to practice all the characteristics of a monk. He has to use an alms ball. He has to be like a monk. He has to walk like a monk. He has to meditate. He has to listen to the Dhamma. He has to preach. He has to practice precepting others. He has to memorize Dhammapada. He has to memorize Pirit book. He has to discuss the Dhamma. He has to do everything what we do. He has to do everything that we do. Then he becomes a monk. We have to practice anicca. We have to practice dukkha. We have to practice anatta. Then we will become anicca, dukkha, anatta. One day you will become anicca, dukkha, anatta. That means you will be the present. You will be the present. That is not hard. Just practice that. Then that will be your life's purpose. Then you can live in your life. Your life is this. This is the kingdom of heaven. This is the kingdom of God. Whatever the name you use. Kingdom of heaven, kingdom of God. It says, the kingdom of God is within you. Of course, this is within you. That's why you don't have to find your sanctuary in anyone, but in yourself. You need the Dhamma, that's it. You need the Dhamma and you need to practice. The Buddha said, you won't get any help from others. You want to practice. You and the Dhamma is enough for that. Your sanctuary is you. Your sanctuary is the Dhamma. Don't find it from anyone. Don't find it in anyone. Let's practice. Let's apply this. Listening is not enough. I think you all can understand that. Listening is not enough. I told you, I spoke to you, I preached to you, now you need to practice. If you understood all these things, at least if you can understand that this is whatever you have done so far is not your life purpose. We all sentient beings have only one life purpose. That life purpose is the same. That is, live in their life, which means live in the present, live in nature, be nature. That's the life purpose. But when you feel the ego, you will have different life purposes. Then you can say that I want to become a doctor, that's my life purpose. I was born to become a doctor. I was born to be a monk. I was born to be an engineer. That's how you think. That's why still you try to achieve your goals. Perhaps you have achieved only half. Then you will use your rest of your life. You will use rest of your life to achieve the other half, and you will die empty-handed. I can guarantee that. I'll come to your funeral. Whether I'll be invited or not, because I want to see your coffin. How much and how many you can take it with you. I have understood that, ladies and gentlemen. Problem is, have you? Therefore, these young people, especially I'm talking to you, don't destroy your life. By saying that, I'm not insulting others. But I want you to understand this. When you understand this, you won't destroy your life anymore. Whatever you have achieved, you can't take it with you. You can't be happy. You only be vexed and you only suffer. I can guarantee it. Get married, you will understand that. And have another one, have another one, have another one, have another, have 100 if you want. And you will feel the same. When you get your divorce, you will feel that next one will be the one. That's how you feel. When you get your divorce, you will feel this one will be the one. This woman or this man is disgusting, but next one will be an angel. Then when you experience that, you will experience the same. But you will put the blame on someone. No, you can't be happy. You can't be happy. That's your fault, ladies and gentlemen. That's not that lady's or that gentleman's fault. That's your fault. Your fault because you can't be happy. This path is wrong. Whatever you use, you can't be happy. Only you will experience vexation. You can change anything. Try and change. Try to change the world. Try to build the world. Do anything. But the thing is, you have done all these things. But I can't ask you to do over and over again, because you use your life to build all these things. That's the problem. If you use only time, and if we are still young, I don't mind. Then I can take 1 million years and check this. I can ask that. But the problem is, you use your life to build the world, to satisfy the ego's needs, the ego's wantings. Then finally, you will die with the ego. That means you will feel your death. Then you will cry one day. Because nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to die. You all know that. Nobody wants to die. When you die, you have to leave everything. Perhaps you can say that, no, I'm not afraid of dying. I am ready. Then are you ready to see your son's funeral? Your children's funerals? Are you ready to see that? You are not. That means you can't see your son's funeral because you can't get detached from your son. But when you die, you have to get detached from everything. How do you feel that? If you can't lose one, then how will you lose everything? Because in your death, you will lose everything because you have to leave everything behind and die. But still you want it. Can you remember that graph? Still you want it. Right now you want your house. And when you die, you want your house. Yeah, I know that after your death you don't want your house. Perhaps. But most of the time, according to my experience, everybody needs that. Everybody comes back. According to my experience. I have studied that. But I can't prove anything. Therefore, I don't talk about that. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you to understand that when you come back. Oh, Guru Hamdru, what Guru Hamdru said was right. Yes, I'm here. But at that time, you won't have your son, your daughter, your properties, your money. Someone will use it. You won't tolerate it. Someone will use your wife. Will you tolerate it? Are you okay with that? That's why, ladies and gentlemen, don't think that this life is the most precious thing you got, but you are going to waste it by getting attached to materialistic things. You have to do that due to the ego. Therefore, let us help you. Every time when you listen to us, we try to let you understand this. We want you to be happy. That's it. We don't need anything from you. We have an alms bowl, ladies and gentlemen. We can beg. We only need this. We don't need many attires or many suits. We only need this. We have it. We want you to be happy because we found it. The Buddha discovered it, and through the great lineage of the Buddha's disciples, we got it. We have the Dhamma. If you can practice the path, you will be happy. Actually, you are happy because happiness occurs in the present. But right now you are not happy. You need to achieve that. You need to eradicate this. Let's do it together. Whether you do it or not, we do it. We practice it. We achieve it. We can feel happiness. That's why in our last sermon I told you that I don't love you. I am the love. Without any discrimination. I can love everyone. Can you imagine about the Buddha then? The Buddha's love. We don't consider anything by looking at your face, your pocket and your wealth and your age, your color, your education. We don't see that. We don't see that because this is your body and your wealth, materialistic things. What we can see is this and this. We know that this is the life again. This is the life, this is hell. Therefore, when we see you, we only see this and this. We know that you can have your life, you can live in your life, but right now you live in hell. Therefore, only thing we get into our mind is helping you. We really want to help you. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Apart from that, we don't need any other thing. One day you will see these too. If you can see through this body means like if you can remove this body and see what actually has this and this. If you take a child, if you take a woman, if you take a man, if you take an animal, we only see this. But we can't help animals because animals can't understand the Dhamma. Therefore we had to neglect them. But we never neglect you. We want to help you. Therefore, let's practice this. We are here for you. And you need to practice. Remember that. You need to practice. This is the light. Your teacher is the light. And the guidance, you need to be guided. We'll see you next week. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Shim be with you all.